Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Agent Meeting. It is December 20th, Friday. This is the final show of the year, and my name is Frank Canuto, Vice President of Growth for the U.S. East. It's my honor to be able to host this final show of 2024. I dug deep into the Russ Lagan collection today to make sure I represent my brother well. Russ is vacationing right now. He's actually at his brother's wedding, so I'm filling in for him, and hopefully I'll do a great job so I don't make them upset at me. But welcome, guys. Welcome to the show Friday. We got a jam-packed show for you. We have so much great guests today with Jessica Brown and Diane Calix, two of my favorite people at the company. We're going to talk to them in just a few minutes. Later on in the show, we've got Brian Ellington that's going to be interviewing icon agent Andy Griesinger, which is going to be phenomenal. But before we do that, obviously, we always need to go to one of the greatest people, the person who keeps us all safe, that keeps us all on track. So right now, I'd like to kick it over to the great, the one and only Holly Mabry.
Thanks, Frank. Well, happy holidays, everyone. I am so excited to spend the last few moments of 2024 with you, but I thought I'd do a quick review because there's nothing like looking at some great statistics to help you plan for what's coming in 2025. So let's jump in and take a look at what I've been looking at that might help you in your business. So first and foremost, this week, the Fed did cut the short-term interest rate. So what does that mean? Because mortgage rates, they went up. And I know that feels kind of crazy, but the inflation rate we talked about, it has increased. It went up in November, and the Fed is really trying to get that to 2%. Well, the good news is we will likely see a modicum of lowering. It's going to be really, really incremental over the course of the next year. I'm not anticipating big cuts to the interest rate. Now, what's important about that is we're likely going to see 6% be about the average for the next year. What does that mean if you're working with buyers? Well, if they're waiting for rates to drop and be down below 6 or 5, they missed it. That's not going to happen. When you look at the 50-year average, it's been right around 7.7%. So it really comes down to other economic factors. Interest rate is not necessarily what should drive you to purchase today or not. It's really about what's important to your family, your lifestyle, and what you can pay for every month. And so the interest rate, it's pretty much here to stay. Now, when you start to look at what happened in November, those stats are just now coming out. And this is from the National Association of Realtors. If you follow them at all on Instagram, their NAR research, super, super helpful. And the existing home sales snapshot just came out. 4.15 million, that's what we've done so far this year. The month over month, this is what's cool. September, we were up. October, we got better. November, better yet still. So that bodes really well. Consumers are back in the game. They recognize that, hey, 6% is where we live. This is what we need to do. I'm going to go take care of my family. So that's a really good thing as you plan 2025. There's no reason to wait or say, buyers are not in the market. If you're talking to sellers who are wanting to seize the market right now, traditionally listing their house around the holidays, they have less competition. They have more thoughtful, very focused buyers who need to make a move right now, and they usually net more for their house. Also, you're looking at inventory slightly increasing, but not quite there yet. And the median price for sales, $406,000. Guys, we don't anticipate that going up a whole lot. And so as you're talking with sellers who are like, hey, I'm going to hold on, I want to build more equity. What does that mean? Are they building sweat equity? Are they going to improve the house, remodel the kitchen, bathroom, add a bedroom? Or are they just waiting for the market to appreciate? Those are two wildly different things. And now is a great opportunity to really educate them on equity versus appreciation and how that works if they're going to pour into the house, what improvements should be made, and what improvements and what's just maintenance. The roof needs to be repaired or replaced. That's maintenance, and that has to be done no matter what. So those are just some talking points, things to think about as you go into next year. Now, let's talk about multi-generational. This is crazy. When I was in practice daily, The most busy days I ever had as an agent were usually the day after Thanksgiving and the day after Christmas. I sold some of my biggest homes and properties then. Multi-generational housing, it's basically when you've got multiple people under the same roof over the age of 18. Could be parents, grandparents, children, and all of that occupying with the primary homeowner. So the top reasons for purchase, 36% should come at no surprise as cost savings. 25%, they're taking care of mom or dad or both. Now, this is where I thought it was really interesting. 21%, it's children over the age of 18. They're moving back from college. Maybe they had a life event and they're just moving back. 20%, the kids never left. They're 18 and they are super happy. Now, what does this mean? When you start to look at your community, when you are looking at what's going on, are your zoning laws changing? Are you seeing auxiliary dwelling units or AUDs being allowed? Mother-in-law quarters, if you will. Do you have properties that are allowing this? Guest houses. How are people retrofitting their properties? I live in an area with a lot of septic tanks. And so if you were to add an auxiliary dwelling unit, you're expanding the septic tank. If you're on a well, man, is the well pump or holding tank big enough? And I know some of you are in the city going, I don't know what she just said. It's okay. The AUDs are a really big deal in a lot of the big cities, and we're seeing more and more convert their zoning laws to be more AUD friendly. So what's going on in your neck of the woods? And many cities and councils are looking to potentially lessen those restrictions, which could bode well for us in the coming year, especially when you look up the sales, they're up 17%. That's pretty cool across the board. Now, NAR just did their forecast last week, and I thought what was interesting is they were a little bit more bullish than we're looking at as a company. We're thinking a little bit lower, but they're saying existing home sales rising 7% to 12%. Well, so far year to date, we're in that 4 million range. Okay, new home sales, they're thinking 750 to maybe a million. That seems a little high, but we'll see. Anything is possible because it's about land, lumber, and then everything it takes to build. The builders, the contractors, you name it. Now, job gains, nearly 2 million. They're anticipating that to stay very bullish over the next 2 years, which bodes well for our economy. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because housing really drives our economy. When you look at people buying houses, that trickle-down effect in every neighborhood, buying one house usually reverberates across a small community in the form of impacting 10 to 20 different jobs. When you think about it, it's you and I as the agent. It could be the home inspector, title person, lender. It's your bug guy. It's your septic. It could be all of these different things. But then, how do they branch out into the community? Do they have people working for them? Do they have schedulers? Do they have secretaries? Do they have other people on their team? When you look at what housing does, it really drives communities. And so for every home sale, how many people in your community are touched? And that's pretty key when you start to look forward. Now, cash, it remains king. It's up 31% of sales this last year. Cash, cash, cash. So when you're talking with sellers right now, it becomes really important. How much equity do they have? The ability to go in and purchase something with cash is really cool. Now, by the way, I've sold a lot of second homes, and I'll have people who come in and say, okay, I'll pay cash and then I'll refinance and take out a loan. Guys, there's a window for the mortgage interest deduction on that. I want you to be very thoughtful and get them with an accountant or CPA, because if they're looking at taking the mortgage interest deduction, they need to refinance. It's usually within 90 days. Otherwise, they're capped on how much they can deduct. It becomes almost like a home equity loan. But if they refinance within that time period, they can take the true mortgage interest deduction. Little pro tip to throw in your back pocket, but definitely work with your favorite mortgage lender locally or one of our great partners at Success Lending. They'll hook you up. Now, finally, I'd be remiss if we didn't look ahead to 2025. And I wanted to give you some things to kind of curl up with a good book and your cup of coffee or hot cocoa as we go into the holiday, and hopefully you get a little bit of downtime to think through. 1 in 5 sellers, 1 in 5 homeowners are looking to sell in the new year. Well, what does this mean to you? I want you to look at your database. I want you to look at everybody that you've sold a property to, whether it's been this year or the past few, and I want you to reach out and do an updated market analysis for them. What is their house worth? They may be shocked at the equity gains they've had over the last few years, and that may be an impetus for them thinking to scratch that itch to sell. And if they don't sell, then you ask for the business of who they could refer you to that could use your services. They liked you, they bought a house with you, you stayed in contact. Why wouldn't you call them back? Now, the other thing that I found, and this came out of 1000 Watt and their research, 1 in 3 sellers actually needed help. They found the process more difficult when they went to sell, and they were really struggling. They wanted to understand the process, know what was next. And this is where you and I come in. We are in such a professionals market. I so want you to embrace that in 2025, because as a professional, you're guiding people to what's next, what they can expect. You're creating a menu of options for them to choose from, and you're walking side by side with them. How cool is that? So when you think of 2025, as a professional, you're leading the way, you're making it easier. Now, for our buyers, most active group, they're going to be 35 to 40 years of age over the course of the next 5 years. They're buying their first home, maybe moving out of mom and dad's house in that multi-generational we were just talking about. But this is what's cool. These folks are used to on-demand, on-time, lots of information at their fingertips via their cell phone. They're looking at Reddit, they're looking at YouTube, they're looking at social media, you name it. They're diving in and they want details in a way that's digestible and not big, crazy reports. They want somebody to talk to them. They want to make that connection. So, YouTube, baby, it's time for you, if you haven't already, start explaining the process. Start talking about what's going on in your community. Be that community advisor in a way that people maybe haven't heard before. Talk about what it looks like to make repairs, to ask for repairs, break down each part of the transaction. When you start to look at the people you want to work with over the next 5 years, are they buyers? If they're buyers, that is a great game plan to just get started. And if you're not sure, well, we've got some tools and tips to help you. Check out the Buyer Toolkit. It's exprealty.com/buyer. It's a great way to dig into how you can take care of buyers in the coming year. When you look at everything we do together, I want you to think of this. It takes as much energy to plan, to wish, as it does to plan. So as you think of 2025, don't wish, just plan. Guys, I'm so excited to see you in the new year. We've got great things ahead. Frank, back to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Holly. I don't know about you guys, but every time she comes on, I'm sitting there writing notes. It's just one nugget after another. And, the bottom line is communication and education is always going to be king. So, for her to give us these scripts and give us this content and things to say to our buyers and sellers and make them understand what the market looks like, it's the educational part. I mean, I've been in this for 30 years. And back when I started, I know Randy Highsmith's listening in the background. Randy, when I started, there were no cell phones. There was no internet. There was no MLS. We were still working out the books. And so, back then we had all the information. And then what happens? The internet comes about and everybody's like, oh, we won't need real estate agents anymore because all the information is here. Well, obviously we're still here, guys, and we will continue to be here. But the difference is now they do have information. So, what value are we bringing? We're bringing education. And that's a big part of it. And you bring your communication skills and your level of service to a higher level. So, it's nice to see, too, that, when we look at the number of houses that EXP sold last year, we've already exceeded that this year. So even though the number of homes has that actually sold across the USA has decreased, the number of homes that EXP has sold has increased. What does that mean? It means two things to me. Number one, we have the best agents in the industry. Nobody can compete with that. And number two, our platform works. Holly's talking about the Buyer Toolkit. Guys, if you haven't been to EXP University and looked at all the new tools and all the stuff that Brian Ellington and his team is putting out for us, you're missing the boat. I tell everyone, there's 2 ingredients to be successful here. Number 1, think bigger than you've ever thought before. And then number 2, plug into the people, plug into the platform, and that's where the magic happens. So I'll get off my soapbox. Now it's time to bring on 2 of my favorite people at this company. Guys, I am so thrilled and honored to introduce to you our onboarding operations director, Miss Jessica Brown, and Diane Calix, our onboarding support manager. Diane is so tech savvy and so talented. She says stuff to me. It's like it's a whole different language. I don't know what's going on, but it's so great to see the 2 of you. Welcome to the Big Agent Meeting. I think it's your first time here.
It is. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Frank. We are so excited to be here. This is super exciting. We'll go ahead and kick it off. We want to give you guys some super exciting news. First of all, happy Friday. And I can't believe that this is the last Big Agent Meeting of the year. This is so amazing. Diane and I are excited to be here. We have some really, really amazing news for you guys today. We are here to announce that we have the live agent startup session, which is now available in all of the US. This is amazing news. We've been piloting this session the past 6 months in all of our big 8 states, and we have had some tremendous success stories from that. So that's super exciting. Some of you guys may be wondering, what exactly is the live agent startup session? So this is a live interactive class with EXP presenters and a group of up to 30 agents. We explain all of the EXP platforms and ensure that we are logged in and understand the difference between each platform. This includes plugging the agents into Okta, getting their MyEXP set up, getting them to know what is MyEXP, how can they navigate that? What is Workplace? How do we communicate on Workplace? Also, we dive into SkySlope and the SkySlope basics. What is SkySlope used for, and how does the agent get paid? So that's super duper exciting. We all want to get paid, right? We're here to sell and get paid and treat our agents right. So that is very exciting. We also dive into how to navigate the EXP world, the new EXP.world. Very, very exciting stuff. We go through our benefits. You may have seen we now have the amazing Canva marketing. That's such a great tool to use, and we want our agents to know how to use that tool. Very exciting. And did you know when you onboard, you get free business cards? You get a new free agent startup kit. So we go through all that, and we show the agents how do they order this within the first 7 days to build their business and get started. We also go over healthcare, our healthcare benefits provided by Clearwater, our Regis offices. Oh my gosh, the list goes on, guys. So it's just crazy. And then we also have our One EXP DEI community. We go over that and the benefits that offers as well. Lastly, during the presentation, we do go over what are the agents' next steps. A lot of these agents that join, they're brand new to the company, brand new to real estate. What is their next step? Where do they go? Join your national training, join your state orientation, dive into the EXP University and take those trainings in the classes that are offered there. So that's very, very exciting, guys. We are just getting started here in onboarding. We have a new year coming up, 2025. It's going to be big. Look out for some amazing updates through onboarding. And I'm going to hand it over to Diane so she can explain a little bit more about how do agents register for this session and a little bit more details about it. So go ahead, Diane, you can take it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both Frank and Jess. So happy to be here. And yes, it is my first time on here. So thank you again. So the live agent startup session, EXP tools and resources run Monday through Friday with 3 options daily: morning, afternoon, evening slots. So there's always a time that fits your schedule. Now, what makes these sessions so valuable? Well, they're hosted on Google Meet in an interactive small group setting where you'll get hands-on guidance to navigate and access EXP tools and resources. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to connect with live experts for Q&A and troubleshooting right there. Now, you're probably wondering too, how do you register? Well, it's super simple. Once activated in EXP, new agents will get a text and email within 24 hours that includes our Calendly link, sign up link. Now, and for those existing agents, right, who love planning ahead, have their calendar set up, you can also sign up directly through the EXP events and training calendar website, which will be found under the Getting Started tab. Now, you're probably also wondering, who are these sessions for? Well, basically everyone. We highly recommend new agents joining during their first week at EXP. It's also perfect for experienced agents who want a refresher, team leaders, admins, and transaction coordinators. So, okay, team leaders, now are you ready for this? We are working with the team services department to offer private team sessions specifically designed for new teams transitioning to EXP. This means your entire team can hit the ground running together, fully equipped to succeed from day one. So don't wait, jump in and experience firsthand why these sessions are an absolute game changer for you. Because let's face it, EXP is where the pros go to grow. And
yes, that is amazing. And I love that. Where the pros go to grow. And I also have to say, you asked, we delivered. So this is a big initiative there as well. Super amazing information, Diane. Thank you guys so much. Please spread the word. If you're bringing on new agents, if you're existing, join our classes, spread the word. This is very, very exciting. And it's going to be amazing. We've also provided a QR code here on our presentation. Please feel free to download this presentation and share it, save it. If you have any questions at all, please email us, and you can find us on Workplace as well. Thank you so much for having us today, guys.
I have to tell you, don't go yet, 'cause I have to tell you something. What this work is, it is a major game changer for us, because think about it this way. We just got done here in Holly, and we're talking about how our level of service and educating our clients, what that means to success. I'm telling you from the growth side, when we're talking to team leaders, we're talking to brokerages, and now we have this orientation system in place. You could just see the weight come off their shoulders. Agents, whether it's a solo agent, whether it's a team, they're overwhelmed and they're nervous, and to come here and to think, oh my God, they have this huge platform, and I don't even know where to begin. To know that we have this in place, game changing. Kudos to you guys.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you.
It's a big
deal.
So
excited. This is amazing. We're so excited.
It really is. Now, how will people know how to get out to that? Is it going through marketing or Workplace? Can you just remind people again how they know about the schedule?
Oh, of course. It's going to be within our events calendar and training website within the Getting Started tab. So please feel free to share the link and get these agents booked and registered to our session. It's going to be awesome.
Guys,
yes,
phenomenal.
And we've also sent out an email. There was a email communication as well that was sent out to all of the existing agents and in Workplace as well. So if you guys go to Workplace, you'll find our announcement and links to join the session as well.
You mean check your emails?
Check your emails.
Check your Workplace, because it has been posted on Monday, December 16th. So make sure to check those emails, and we're looking forward to seeing you and experiencing our session.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of the entire growth team, I can't tell you guys how much we appreciate the hard work that you do, what a difference you make in all the agents' lives that we bring in. Your work is celebrated. So thank you so much for what you all do. We really appreciate you. I wish you all happy holidays. So thank you guys for what you do. Really appreciate it.
Happy holidays. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? I mean, think about this, guys. And every time we talk to people, another thing I say, and please feel free to use it, which most of you already do. When you think about Glenn and Leo and all the executives, they're all licensed real estate agents. So when you think about the direction of the company, every decision is made by a real estate agent for a real estate agent. And I don't know, I think that's something that gets glossed over just a little bit too much, because that is super impactful and super important. We're constantly trying to improve not only the customer experience, but the agent experience. And when you see things like this, you understand the direction that we're going in and how much time, effort, and focus is put on to agent success. So great job to the onboarding team. You guys are awesome. Woo, we got a lot going on. We're not done yet. We got the great Brian Ellington coming on right now with an awesome, insightful interview with icon agent Andy Griesinger. This is going to be a good one, so stay tuned for this. Brian, take it away, buddy.
Guys, so much. All right, Andy, I've been looking forward to this all week. Thank you very much for coming on. Andy Griesinger with the Griesinger Group out of Charlotte, North Carolina. You got a team of about 5 folks out there doing, I think you said 108 units just already so far this year, and we're not even done. Amazing, amazing job. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this world?
Sure. So, well, first of all, thank you for having me. And
Yeah.
I always appreciate doing this kind of stuff. And I appreciate everyone who helped make this possible. So
Well, thanks for being on. We love having you.
I got into real estate actually 10 and a half years ago. I got in through the commercial world. And so I actually started a firm called Marcus and Millichap, which is a commercial brokerage. And so just so you can kind of get a feel for the world that I was living in, it was suit and tie every day, even Fridays, because why are you going to dress more casual on Friday? Because are you working less on Friday? So It was suit and tie every single day. And the guy that I was working with before I took my real estate exam literally told me that he wished me luck on the exam and then told me that if I didn't pass, not to bother coming back on Monday, because if you can't pass the first time, you're not smart enough to work here.
No pressure.
Yeah. So that was the world I lived in. And I did commercial brokerage for about 8 or 9 months. Didn't sell anything, didn't get close to any client contacts or contracts or any agreements or anything, and knew nothing about the financing side of commercial real estate. So I actually went and got into commercial real estate finance for a couple of years just to try and learn that piece of it. Residential was never on my radar at all, ever, because we just, in the commercial world, you're kind of bred to think a certain way about residential agents.
Yes.
And so never really gave it the time of day. Until summer of 2016, I met a couple of realtors who truly treated it like a business, and they had leverage in place. They had staff on their teams. They had all kinds of operational support so they could stay in front of people and do what they do best, which is talking to people and negotiating deals. And that was attractive to me. So I made the switch in March of 2017 into residential, started on a team for 2 years, went solo in 2019, and have been building out my own team with our support staff and everyone since then.
And it seems to be going well for you. So welcome to the dark side of real estate. We really appreciate having you over here. I've worked in the commercial world myself, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It is a different animal. And because of the lead cycle time of deals in that freshen, it is a very different mentality than residential in many regards. But there's a very good melding of the middle. And so if you're looking to get into commercial, do check out our commercial team. They've got a great program there. But Andy, you and I were talking, and I know a significant amount of your business comes from referrals and past client referrals and things of that nature. But you really do a good volume of business off of social. And so I wondered if I could pick your brain here for the folks watching. First off, when we say social, there's a whole world out there. Are you doing TikTok dancing here, or what are we talking about?
You won't see me dancing on TikTok, that's for sure.
Dang it. All right. Where do you go when you go to social?
Primarily Instagram and YouTube. We are doing video production, so a lot of that is going for Instagram and YouTube. But I won't shy away from also posting it on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, because there are a lot more people watching things on LinkedIn than you would think.
Yeah, but I'm curious, Instagram and YouTube, why those two in particular?
Well, so one of the big things with YouTube is it's searchable. So Charlotte's a very transient city. We have a lot of people that are moving to Charlotte, which means there's a lot of people all over the country Googling things about Charlotte, North Carolina. So I wanted to be in front of them for that. But then with Instagram, I wanted to make sure that I was in front of everyone that I knew locally. And I wanted to set up a strategy when I was getting started in real estate that would put me in front of more local individuals. So to start with Instagram, I literally was just going and following all the different restaurants and breweries and craft cocktail lounges and things like that. Things that are super local, right? If I told you about ... like you're not going to follow them, but someone in Charlotte will, because it's the #1 cocktail lounge in the city. And so I was going and engaging with a lot of these local accounts, and then following a lot of the people who were also engaging with them to try and
That's
get in
really
front
smart.
of them.
Kind of a dual strategy there. Now, I'm curious because I want to ask you about what you post, how often, all that type of stuff. But before we even go there, can we talk about accounts for a second? Because when you and I were talking, you mentioned that there's a big question: do I do personal? Do I do business accounts? I know, for instance, if you go look at my account, you're going to see the food my wife and I make. You're going to see pictures of our kids and all that kind of stuff.
No dancing videos, though.
I'm not going to say no. Just not that I'm aware of. If somebody was recording it, that's not my fault. But how do you take it when you go on? Do you do personal accounts? Do you do business accounts? Do you do both?
So I'm a big believer in you are your brand, and so I am a big fan of merging the two and doing personal and business on your page, because people are hiring you. When people are hiring an agent, whether it's to buy or sell, I'm a big believer in they're hiring the individual. And so you want to be able to present yourself that way, because and let's be real, like a lot of the business accounts, if you go to a lot of these like team accounts, and I do think if you have a team, it's good to have just a generic team account that you can post things from and you can push things to the agents. But for individual agents, or for anyone who is on a team, solo agent, a team lead, anyone who's in production, I think it's important to combine the two.
Cool. And so when I guess let's hit on the personal side of things. So am I going to see like what you and your significant other made for dinner? Am I going to see children or nieces and nephews or dogs and cats? Like when you approach the personal side of things, I guess what's too personal and what's not?
So everyone, I feel like, has their own threshold when it comes to that. You will see pictures of my wife and I. You'll see pictures from our wedding this summer. One of the most engaged,
by the way.
Thank you. One of the most highly engaged posts that I've ever had on Instagram was when I posted that we got engaged. So people do like if we go on a trip, on an international trip, and I like to, instead of being the guy that'll post 5 or 6 posts while we're out there, I'll post one big one when we're done. And I like to do a carousel with lots of pictures, right? But it's a healthy mix. And I like to make sure that it's not just a commercial reel of just listed, just solds, under contracts. Like you don't want to see that. But I also do want to make sure I have videos of my listings, right? I want people to see that, because that's half the battle, is just getting eyes on these properties now. And so I like to mix personal and work. Now, when it comes to a lot of the personal stuff, aside from like trips and things, you will see a lot of things that my wife and I are doing on stories.
Okay.
And to me, I think stories were always like my dirty little secret with Instagram engagement, because I always thought that when someone's coming to my page for the first time, the easiest thing that they're going to do, they might scroll up and down and take a quick peek at something. But the first thing, if they see that like pink and yellow circle around my picture, they're going to click on that. And if there's something for them to see, or something that they like, or something that they can engage with or relate to, or anything that they like, they might hit that follow button, and now they're stuck. Now they're going to see everything. Okay. So now, that was always my thought process with that.
Okay. Now, obviously, because Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg call me regularly for my advice, I'm Mr. Social Media. So I know the answer to this, but for those people who may not, would you mind sharing, when you think about the difference between like posts and stories and reels, how do you think about that as an agent?
I think stories are really good to stay in front of people. To me, the way I compare it is like a story is if you just walk by someone on the street and you're like, or like at a NFL game, right? Or a football game, whatever. You walk by someone, you got a beer in your hands and you're like, oh, hey, good to see you. And you just keep walking because you're staying top of mind just because you just saw them.
Okay.
A post is like sending a text to schedule a coffee meeting with someone. Right? It's there's a little more that you're trying to get from them. But with a story, you're not really asking for anything. You're not even asking how they're doing, right? It's not even like you stopped on the street to talk to them. You're just walking by, waving, saying, hey, and that's it, right? So I always viewed stories as a very less intrusive way into people's lives because you are just posting it and all they're going to do is they're going to tap on it and they're going to just keep clicking through. And that's all they do. They just click through stories. And so, but I'm not really asking you to do anything with my stories, right? If I'm posting a story, sure, there may be like a poll or something, but I'm not asking you to do anything. When I post something, I want you to engage with it. I want you to like the post. I want you to comment on the post. I want you to share it because that's what helps boost the algorithm, boost more engagement. So
got it.
I view the stories as having, it's like the Gary Vaynerchuk has the saying, the jab, jab, right hook method with this. Right. Stories to me are the jabs. You're just jabbing people all the time with stories. Every single day, posting a couple stories at least. I always make sure that I have something. And then the right hook is when you make the post. Because the post is when you're like, I want you to engage with this because I want Instagram to send this to more people.
Got it. Now, so we talked a little bit about Instagram, and again, I want to get into what to post, but I think it's worth talking about YouTube in terms of the structure of things because they are somewhat different. You can do shorts, you can do long forms on YouTube. Typically on Insta, you're really doing post or short form type of stuff. So on YouTube, how are you approaching that from a structure standpoint?
YouTube, I'm thinking about who is the ideal person that is watching this? Okay. Where are they watching this from? And what are they wanting to know? And with Charlotte being such a new city with a lot of buyers that are moving to Charlotte, I'm thinking of people living in Texas, people living in Boston, people living in New York, Ohio, California, that are really common states that we're getting new residents from. When they Google Charlotte, what are they looking for? What do they want to learn? They want to learn about different neighborhoods. They want to learn about where high-paying jobs are. They want to learn about, certain comparing a couple of different popular neighborhoods. They want to, but they're not going there to find out what's the best restaurant in Charlotte. Like, sure, they're going to Google that, but maybe when they're there, and they don't want to watch an 8-minute video on that. But if in a video about South Park, which is one of the more affluent areas in Charlotte and where the biggest mall is in town, if I'm standing there in South Park talking about the mall, talking about the restaurants, mentioning a couple different places, and then bringing them into a couple neighborhoods in South Park, they're going to stick around and watch that because they're learning something. And then while they're watching that, they're writing down, Steak 48's there. I got to make sure we go there. And Bar One Lounge is a cool cocktail lounge there that we can make sure that we're going to. So that's kind of my mindset with YouTube compared to Instagram.
I like that. It's very much in line with my friend Levi Laxate, who runs the YouTube channel Living in Dallas. It's very much his approach that he trains and coaches on. So when you think about the kinds of posts that you're making, how do you decide what I'm going to post? And did you start posting every single day, by the way?
Oh, no. No. I'm a firm believer with this kind of stuff. I'm a firm believer in building the muscle, right? Yeah. You don't want to just go and say, I'm going to start posting 5 videos a week. I'm going to post a video every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're going to burn yourself out in probably a week, maybe 2. Yeah. And so when I started doing video, I committed to 1 long form video every other week. and one short form like teaser of that long form video in the opposite weeks. So if this week I would post a teaser for next week's video, and then next week I would post the full video, and then in 2 weeks I would post the teaser for the next video, and then the week after that I would post that full video. And so it was sort of like committing to one video a week, and then I would post one photo a week as well. So I started doing some more lifestyle shoots and things just to start presenting myself to my community on Instagram as a professional. So I'm a big believer in building the muscle and starting with that. Now I'm posting 3 to 5 videos every week. I'm also not posting 5, 6, 7 videos a week. There very rarely do I said 3 to 5, but very rarely do I actually do 5. I'm usually doing 3 videos and maybe a picture every week.
All right. So consistency, and you're spacing that out across the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, as you talk about this, you remind me we have a program called Fast Cap, right? And one of the things that we know is if you want business, you have to have conversations. Most agents, though, they're a little bit intimidated by that. You know, what do I say? How do I bring value? How to not annoy people? And so, you know, in this program, of course, we give them scripts that help them bring that kind of value. But most important is we ramp them up in terms of activities of conversations. And the first week, what we say is just have one conversation a day and go call your grandmother, go call your auntie, go call your best friend, people who know, love you, and want to support you. Fumble over your scripts. Don't worry about it. And 2 things, we're getting them into the habit, right? Getting them to realize that nobody's going to stab you when you call them, right? And getting you used to saying the words. What's interesting, though, is inevitably your grandmother's going to go, "Oh, Ruth down the street selling her home," you know, that kind of a thing, right? It happens. It just happens when you get into action. And so to your point, just starting. Because the people who know and love you are going to see your stuff and react to it in a positive way. So when you talk about content, what are the kinds of posts that you're putting out there? You mentioned earlier, you said that you post about your listings. What do you post?
So I also, with listings, I'm a firm believer in putting a personality behind the property. So if you go to my page, and you'll be able to see as I'm like pulling it up just so I can like talk through it in real time. When you go to my page, you'll see that some of these listings we're just walking through a home talking about it. Just as you would if you're picking up the phone and talking to another agent. Like, hey, I just listed 3613 Selwyn Farms Lane. This house is in a perfect area. It is super close to South End without being in South End. You have a 2-car garage, which is super rare. And you have a fenced in backyard, and these sellers did a full renovation and opened a wall up, which you're not going to find anywhere else in this neighborhood. Like that's cool. That's in the video, right? Or another one we just listed today, 404 Belton Street. It's a townhome that's half a mile from the rail trail, which is one of the hottest parts of town right now. It's sitting right outside of South End, which is one of the hottest submarkets in the entire country. So here's an opportunity to be able to live right there, and you can have superior walkability. You also get a gas cooktop in a townhome, which is super rare in Charlotte. So we're walking through and talking about some of these things with these homes just so that people can actually see it. Because I always say, like, pictures say 1,000 words and video tells you 1,000,000 more.
And a question about that, are you walking around like this or like this? In other words, are you in front of the camera or behind the camera?
So I have a videographer who will walk around and film me. I'm a big fan for agents who can't afford a videographer. Just walk around with your phone like this, doing one of these. Sometimes it's good so you can see yourself. A lot of people will argue it's better to do it this way so that you actually don't see yourself. And it's technically higher resolution, and there's a couple other benefits to doing it that way. But like, go get one of those little handheld selfie stick kind of things, or a gimbal, and just go walk around. Every year when it resurfaces around like June, I repost it. But when I was new, I was going to open houses that I was hosting every single weekend. And before the open house, when I put signs out, I would do this, and I'd stand out in front of the house and I'd be screaming at my phone like, "Hey, this is Andy Griesinger in front of 1 Main Street. I'm going to be here today from 12 to 2. Be sure to stop by every week. So it doesn't matter as long as you're doing something, because your people are going to be watching and they're going to be supporting you from afar, whether they're liking it, commenting on it, sharing it or not. They're going to be watching it.
And it's interesting, is I saw the other day they make a thing. It's about the same size as one of those MagSafe battery packs, but it's an actual screen that you put on the back of your phone so you can hit the high resolution cameras, but then you can actually see yourself at the same time. Remarkable what's out there. And again, I just got my 16 Pro. What is it, like 48 megapixels? You don't need some fancy camera out there. Your iPhone, or I don't know about your Android phone. Sorry, guys, but at least your iPhone is good enough. We'll get into that debate. I'm curious. You mentioned your wedding being one of the more popular posts. When it comes to real estate related content, what's been some of your more popular posts?
The highest engaging posts in the real estate world are my stories when I post something that is the most absurd thing that I see on a showing. Something where you're like, what the heck is that? I'll post that, and those usually get the most engagement. Not always like people saying, oh, that's hilarious, let me sell my house with you. But you're staying in front of people and you get tons of engagement from that. I do get a lot from some of the listing posts. I really like posting just different tidbits and like things that I talk to agents about. So whether it's a mindset hack or goal setting or things that I'm talking.
Hey, everyone. Unfortunately, it looks like we had a little bit of a Sopranos issue there. So sorry about that. Hopefully you got the gist of what was going on. Great stuff as always from Brian and Andy. And, bottom line is, guys, I think we have to start becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I know I'm an old head. I'm not big on social media. I don't use it a lot. But clearly when I listen to this, it's something that we have to do. I mean, you have to change with the time. So all the most successful people are doing it. So, it's funny. Here I am preaching it, but now I have to start living it, right? If you want to jump on the path to success, it's already been made. All you have to do is follow the footprints. So thank you so much for that. Andy, you made me shift my brain, and I know 2025, I'll be doing things a lot differently. So guys, real quickly, as we wrap up here, let's talk about KGCI Radio. In case you guys don't know, we have the only 24/7 radio station in the real estate industry. It's phenomenal. How do you access it? Right here, you have the QR code right in front of you. Just scan that, and you can tune in anytime, 24/7. It's all content, all real estate, all EXP, all the time. So please do yourself a favor while you're driving and listen to what's going on out there because it's great information. Also, don't forget your NPS scores. We'd like to find out how we're doing. So please, if you would do this, scan as well, and just kind of tell us how you feel about things. It helps us with our direction moving forward. So, guys, we're going to kick off one more thing. But before we go, I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday. 2024 was great for us. 2025 is going to be even better. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for letting me spend this time with you. And again, enjoy this time while it slows down a little bit for a couple of weeks for your family. Enjoy the time and celebrate your successes. you're still here, and it's a good day. It's a great day. So now, just to kick it over to a video, we have our icon recognition video for the month of November. So congratulations, all the people you're about to see, and everybody, I'll see you in 2025.